Welcome into the Snapped podcast. My name is Tyler Kluver, and I'm a former Division I athlete turned entrepreneur. I run my own fitness and nutrition coaching business, as well as a sports media brand that produces podcasts, sells merchandise, and creates exclusive paid content. The fun part is I don't really know what I'm doing as a business owner. I'm just figuring it out day by day. This show, Snapped, acts as an audio journal for my thoughts and ideas on fitness, health, business, mindset, and whatever else I find important on the pursuit to personal happiness and a balanced life. I hope you can take something from the show that makes your life a little bit better. And regardless, I'm just happy you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. Welcome into the Snap podcast. This is a mini-sode, a little small episode. I went upstairs to get lunch, start heating up my lunch, realized don't have any rice. No jasmine rice made. So had to throw that in. Takes about 20 minutes in the old Instapot. And obviously it's Wednesday. So on today's agenda, I had to get the Snap podcast done. Got to pump out an episode for the people. So I figure, you know what? We're sort of using this week as a quick week to lead into a bigger series. Obviously, next week we preview the Open. We recap my 8-week rowing program that I just went over, which I think is going to be really beneficial for a lot of people if they just want to increase their VO2 max, their cardio fitness. This program I just went through is super applicable to really any cardio because it was just interval based off of time. There was nothing specific to the rowing that, as far as structuring the program that you couldn't do running or biking or swimming. Excuse me, yawn. Haven't yawned on this podcast in a long time. Wow, just realized that. So I'm excited to talk about that rowing program. We're not going to talk about some big topic today. I am going to keep this under 10 minutes, no doubt, guaranteed. This is a quick hitter. I would like to do this as more of a series, like a snapped. I don't know, quick hitter. I'm not sure. We're just going to go over a couple things that are on my mind and whatnot. But as we lead into a big series next week, I just didn't want to force an episode this week. So, all the things, check out TKG Training, tylerkluver.com if you want daily workouts that are going to get you results. Don't need anything but a little bit of effort, 30 minutes and a pair of dumbbells, tylerkluver.com, or hit me in the DMs on all socials if you have questions about one-on-one coaching, the TKG Training, whatever it may be. All right. So here's what I got today. A couple different things. So when I think of, and these are just kind of off the cuff thoughts. When I think of getting results in nutrition and exercise, I think the biggest macro concept of that for how to make those things work long term, right? And this might not be for people who want to really dive deep and go crazy with the fitness or nutrition, but just people who want general health. So they just want to be healthy for life, just your average Joe. I think of it in terms of low dose, high volume. Low dose, high volume. What does that mean? The dosage, the intensity, we'll call it intensity. The nuance at which you have to go to is low. It's not a lot. You got to walk a little bit, you got to move your body, you got to eat the right foods and make sure you're not in a calorie surplus. Make sure it's a calorie deficit if you want to lose weight. But the actual implementation of that is very low dose. 20, 30 minutes of walking a day, 30 minutes at the beginning of the week to kind of plan out and cook some meals, prep your food, at least have an idea of what you're going to eat, drink your water, go to sleep. Like there's nothing intense about that, but it's very high volume. In the fact that almost every decision you make throughout your day has some sort of implication on your health. And you're making a lot of those and you're doing them day after day after day after day. Low dose, high volume. When I think of work, though, when I think of like what you do at your job, what you do at your career, at least this is in my own thoughts for someone who has the privilege of working from home, making my own schedule, doing work when I want to do it versus when I don't. I try to think of it as the exact opposite macro concept. I want high dose, low volume. I want the intensity when I am doing my work. I want it to be as furious and as efficient, and I want to stuff as much work as I can into low volume periods of time. So I've talked about it on this podcast before a few times, I think. I like to work as little as I can total minutes wise, but when I am working, so let's say instead of 40 hours a week, I work 25 hours a week. That's probably close. But those 25 hours, I aim for those to be just as productive or more productive than it, some other random person's 40 or 45 or 50 hours. I'm trying to be as totally productive and inefficient as somebody else, basically at 2 times the intensity. So just something to chew on. I kind of realized that dichotomy. Like it's totally opposite when I think about my work life versus my fitness and nutrition life. Something to chew on. Uh Sleep before nutrition and exercise. That's the note I wrote down. For this one, I think, and this kind of hit me yesterday, if someone were to come to me and they had a totally unbalanced life, they had no idea what to do exercise wise, they had no idea what they were doing nutrition wise, their sleep was out of whack, their hydration was out of, I think the first thing, and it's taken me a long time to get here, but I believe the first thing I would tell them to fix in the strategy of, hey, we got to look at this one thing at a time. I think the first of those three would be sleep. And here's why. If you don't sleep enough, well, we all know what happens. The way you feel when you do not get enough sleep, not just on a singular day, but if you are chronically underslept, the stress that ensues that you can't even see, it's invisible. That's playing a major role. But you also do start to feel that your mood, your energy, how you deal with people, your motivation to get other things done during the day, your work, your family, everything suffers. Everything suffers and it's exponential. And so if you do not have that under control, I find it, at least in my experience with the clients that I've worked with, I find it very, very hard to expect someone to, going back to the low dose, high volume of nutrition and exercise habits. They just, even at that low dose of intensity of what's needed to make them healthy, they can't manage it. They cannot get their diet under control. They can't. There's reasons for that. When you're underslept, your cravings are a whole lot worse for nutrition. When you're underslept, you don't have the energy to work out. So I would point people in the direction of, and if you may be one of these people, maybe not so lost down the line, you're just completely out at sea, nowhere to go. But if you're in the middle of this and you're like, well, I kind of focus on all three things, but like if I was to really buckle down on one of them, what would it be? Sleep is the one that I would point you to. Sleep more. Get your sleep under control. Go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time, get your 8+ hours a night and see where that takes you. See what doors that opens up in your nutrition and exercise once you have that under control. Last couple thoughts is don't be a child and buck up. Have a little bit of discipline. I've been dealing with a few clients recently that literally all they have to do is like, yes, sometimes discipline is hard if we're asking you to do hard things or stuff that's like really hard to stay in routine with. Sometimes we're asking very simple things like, hey, just track your food for a week or just go for a walk 10 minutes a day. Stuff that is not hard. You just have to be an adult and do them. And some people are incapable. Don't be a child and grab a hold of some sort of discipline in your life. It is not that hard. It doesn't have to be that hard. Finally, and this one's been on my mind, and this is really just a note. If you are working from home or you have the ability where your company would buy you or let you upgrade to this, get yourself a standing desk. And if you're at home, probably wouldn't do this in the office, but if you're at home, get yourself a single kettlebell or dumbbell. The combination of those two things can take your work life, the 8+ hours a day that you work, to brand new heights. I lied. This podcast went over 10 minutes. Sorry about that. TKG Training, TylerKluver.com. Hit me in the DMs. Love you guys. Your excuses are not valid. We'll see you next time. Peace.